Yo, what is going on today, guys? Sekiro here, and as you can see on the top left, I just hit Masters using only Ritual Beast, and I'm just going to showcase my deck profile real quick. So the deck profile is just going to be quick. I'm not going to go into too many details, besides some choices, but for like the Ritual Beast cards, it's pretty much a standard list. So you can see this. I'm going to bring up Dueling book though, just because it is much easier to showcase on that website, like stuff in order. So pretty standard, we have 3 Konohawk, 3 Pangu, both of your 1-card combo starters. Apelio, which is like the 3rd best beast in the deck, and then you also play Pedalfin, which is just another beast. And then his effect is pretty useful in certain scenarios. Like I didn't use him like almost like 90% of the time, but then like my last like 4 matches out of like the 8 to get Masters, I actually used him like 3 times his effect, so it's pretty good in certain scenarios. I say he's more of a side deck card, but obviously no side deck in Master Duel, so I just put him in the main deck. 3 Elder. I love when people try to affect regular permanence this card, because obviously, or for people who don't know, this card effect is based on just being summoned, so it's mandatory. So if they negate his effect after you summon, his effect is still active. The only way to prevent it obviously is like to prevent like his summon in general with like Solemn Judgment or something. But yeah, so 3 Elder, he's the best tamer in the deck. Not best tamer, but the best Ritual Beast tamer. 1 Laura and 1 Wen. You don't want to see these cards on the opening hand, but you also want the extra tamer names. They're extenders. Wen from Banished brings back 1, and then Laura from Graveyard. And then next of, it is the best card of the deck, which is Spiritual Beast Tamer with Laura. Being a Spiritual Beast Tamer, she counts as a Spiritual Beast or a Ritual Beast Tamer, so for the fusion she could be either or. Really good. She is the reason this deck can play around hand traps, and all 3 of her effects are just really good. Real quick, for those who don't know the new card, because I feel like most people probably know what the old cards do, but she is banished. You special summon 1 from the deck. If your Ritual Beast cards would be destroyed by something, you could banish her from the graveyard or field and prevent that. And you could discard her from your hand, then normal summon a Ritual Beast card. So all 3 of those effects are really good. And she is also a light attribute, which is very important when you want to summon Protos. We play Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda, probably the worst card in the deck, just based off the effect. It comes up maybe like 1% of the time, but you basically just playing her because she's a Spiritual Beast Tamer. And like I said earlier, she counts as either or. And she's a rank 4, or level 4 I should say. So you could use her to go on the rank 4s. So a lot of people only run 2 Inheritance. I like running 3 because you want to see the cards you want to see. You want to always see Spiritual Beast Tamer Laura, or Pangu, or Konohawk in your opening hand. And if you already have those, then you can search a Tamer, an Elder, and then you just get even better combos. So I like running 3 for the consistency, because you always want to see like one of your good cards. And I think this deck actually breaks like a decent amount low-key. 1 Steed is really good. Just popping cards depending on how many Ritual Beast monsters you control. So you're always going to be like guaranteed 1 or 2 most of the time. You don't have to run this card if you really don't want to. Put space for something else in. Ironically, I almost never resolve this card because for some reason Tenpai players always draw heavy, not Heavy Storm. I mean, they do draw Heavy Storm, but they always draw Harpy Feather Duster in their opening hand 90% of the time. I don't get it. It's a 1 of, and they always have it. Then the Nemesis engine, because Protos is a really good card, and it's the reason we could actually beat Tenpai. Flag can search either of these 2. This one goes in the Colossus to prevent them from adding stuff from their hand, deck to their hand. And then obviously Protos is a Floodgate. You could choose Fire and then Tenpai can't play, or you could choose Dark and you both can't play, or if you choose Dark, a lot of decks can't play, like Cure Elements or Castura can't go into their XYZ monsters. This is a really good card, and he can't be destroyed by card effects, so they can't like Raigeki or anything. They actually have to negate his effect first with like Forbidden Droplet before they can destroy him. Every tamer is a psychic monster, so E-Teleport helps you play around hand traps in case Konohawk or Pangu gets negated. Max C is the best card in the game, so you run 3 right because it's allowed on Master Duel. And then 2 D shifters because this deck could play D shifter. And obviously it's limited to 2 in Master Duel. And this could be really good against some decks. 3 Ash because this deck really loses the Max C. And you don't want Max C to resolve. If Max C resolves, you're probably going to lose because this deck special summons a lot. Called Above the Grave, same reason, mainly for Max C and hand traps. I actually choose to play 1 crossout for the exact same reason it's called by. You do not want to get ashed or impermanence or Max C'd. Like, you don't want any of those to happen to you. So the more cards you can run to prevent that is just a benefit. I play 2 impermanence and then 2 Book of Eclipse. Permanence, no need to explain that. And then Book of Eclipse helps you dodge effects, like if they affect Veiler or impermanence, like your Conhawk or Pengu, you could actually flip them upside down to stop the targeting, so you still get the effect. And then you could also still contact fuse while they're upside down. So it's really good in that scenario, and it can also stop your opponent from making plays if you flip their stuff upside down before they can do anything with them. I know a lot of people do play Pot of Prosperity in this deck. I choose to run the Inheritance instead because I'm not a fan of Pot of Prosperity personally. I don't like the how you have to banish your extra deck cards. I'd rather have the option to use all of them when necessary. And then some people do run Triple Tactic Talents, which is also good. I was actually using this shit. I was running 2 of them before Book of Eclipse. I think Book of Eclipse is just better in general though, because it helps you dodge stuff. Like if you Triple Tactic Talents, you're not really like, and you already normal summon, you're not really gaining anything of it unless you draw into Laura. So I think for consistency and just disruption, Book of Eclipse is better. Now for the extra deck, you run 2 Ulti Conahawk. You only really need 1 for the combos, but you run 2 in case you need to send 1 off for Pengu, so you can get a Conahawk in the graveyard. Same reason for Ulti Apelio. This new fusion is fantastic. It actually lets you play around hand traps. Because like if you summon a Rapengu, or let's say you have Laura and Rapengu in your hand, you discard her, normal summon a Rapengu, use Rapengu's effect, and then he gets negated like Effect Veiler or something, and you can't prevent that. You can then fuse Rapengu on the field and then Laura in the graveyard. Summon this, Laura's effect goes off. Special summon 1 from deck, you can summon a Conahawk and then banish something else. And then return this back to the extra deck and then summon from your banish and then go into your Ulti Conahawk loops from that. So it's really good in that regard. Ulti Apelio is Ulti Gaia Apelio is a Omni Negate as long as you have Virtual Beast cards in your hand and it's not once per turn, so you can just do it multiple times. What I would change though is instead of running 2 Falcos, I would run 2 of this card instead, the new Ritual Beast link. Just because I only run 2 so I can send off Rapengu. You never ever go into 2 of them. So yeah, you might as well just replace this with the better one, because you could summon the link monsters actually off of this effect. If they're banished, you could send, like, bring this card back to the extra deck and then summon one of these links that are banished. So you might as well run 2 of this. You can send one over Pengu, and then if you need to bring one back, you can instead of having the link summon it. You get an additional normal summon for a Ritual Beast, so you can keep your combos going. So real quick, I just realized it wasn't showing on Duel Link book for some reason. So real quick, like I said, 2 Conahawk, 1 Ulti Apelio, 2 of the new fusion, and then Ulti Gaplapo. And then I was talking about Falcos. You don't need to run 2 of these. You can just run 2 of the new link instead, and only run 1 of this. Then you run 1 of the new link because it's really good. You basically always want to end on it. If not, you want to end on either this or Gaia Apelio. Then you run Colossus because you're in the Nemesis engine. You run Banshee to get into the Nemesis engine. And then you run standard stuff like IP, SP, Appaloosa, and Access Code Talker just because they're really good generic links. And yeah, that is my deck profile for Ritual Beast. This is the deck profile I use to get Masters. I think this deck might be underrated. While I do think it's worse in Master Duel specifically only because Max C exists, I think this deck could actually be a potential, like, on the verge of, I do think it's meta. I just think I'm probably like on the bottom tier of meta, maybe like a tier 3, tier 2 deck. If you guys have any comments on like changes you would run in this deck personally, and I'll probably upload all the gameplay of me getting the Masters in the next upcoming days. I recorded every single loss and win for the most part, like 95% of them. So I'm gonna upload them throughout the days because it's like 4 or 5 hours of gameplay. so I gotta make multiple like hour videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and peace out.